70 kilometers north of Munich, the farmstead of Hinterkaifeck sat entirely isolated against the harsh Bavarian winter of 1922. On the night of March 31st, an attacker methodically bludgeoned all 6 people living on the farm, including a 2-year-old toddler and a maid who had arrived only hours earlier. The physical evidence at the scene was baffling. Investigators discovered deep footprints in the snow leading to the house, but none leading away. Even more disturbing, the killer remained on the property for days after the murders, tending the cattle and sleeping in the hayloft. These anomalies fueled a century of theories about wandering drifters and supernatural intruders. But looking out into the dark woods has often distracted us from the forensic details found inside the house. This map plots a timeline of similar unsolved axe murders spanning from the Midwestern United States to rural Germany. It illustrates the man from the train theory, which suggests a single serial killer, Paul Mueller, committed the Villisca axe murders in Iowa before traveling to Hinterkaifeck. The behavioral patterns are striking. Families slaughtered around midnight, windows and mirrors covered with bedsheets, and murder weapons left behind. However, the physical evidence at the farm breaks this pattern. A traveling killer strikes quickly and flees to avoid capture. The Hinterkaifeck killer locked the family's guard dog outside, fed the livestock, and stayed in the home for days. But there is also a financial contradiction. The perpetrator completely ignored roughly 100,000 Reichsmarks in gold and silver, left in plain sight in an unlocked wardrobe. With the wealth untouched and the killer choosing to remain at the crime scene, the theory of a transient, opportunistic drifter becomes difficult to sustain. The killer was deeply tied to this specific location. This led investigators to look at the immediate community, specifically a neighbor named Lorenz Schlittenbauer. He was entangled in a bitter paternity dispute with the family's daughter, Victoria, amid local rumors of incest between her and her father. The primary piece of physical evidence initially seemed to point directly to him. The murder weapon was a heavy agricultural mattock, and Schlittenbauer admitted it belonged to him, though he claimed it had been stolen from his fields years prior. After the slaughter, the killer went to extreme lengths to hide this tool, dismantling a false floor in the attic to conceal the heavy iron mattock so deeply that police missed it entirely. It was only discovered a year later when the farm was demolished. It is highly unlikely that an invading neighbor would execute 6 people and then undertake a massive, time-consuming structural project to hide his own weapon at the crime scene. Leaving his own tool there would only ensure his arrest. The focus shifts instead to the man who actually possessed that stolen tool, the family patriarch, Andreas Gruber. The evidence lies in a mechanical detail of that specific mattock. Gruber secured the blade with iron bands and added a protruding 8mm threaded screw to act as a captive bolt gun. The flat iron blade acts as a death stop, ensuring the screw penetrates the skull enough to induce immediate brain death without shattering the bone. The pathology reports match this design. While most victims died from single, measured blows, Gruber struck his daughter Victoria 9 times in a focused overkill, yet none of the skulls were smashed. They were precisely punctured. The post-crime behavior also points back to the master of the house. The farm's alert guard dog never sounded the alarm because it recognized its owner, and Gruber spent the next day washing blood splashes out of his stable outfit in the property's bakehouse. This mechanical signature, paired with the intimate overkill and the comfort of staying on the farm, points to a killer already inside the home. If Andreas Gruber was the perpetrator, we have to resolve the final contradiction, the fact that he was found dead among the victims. Gruber's body told a different story than the others. While the family had focused, precision puncture wounds in their skulls, Gruber had only one injury, a torn carotid artery and a protruding cheekbone, with no damage to his skull at all. He had bled to death in the animal trough. Forensic analysis suggests a bizarre historical accident. In the days following the murders, while tending the livestock alone, Gruber likely tripped and fell face first onto a separate, heavy pickaxe resting in the feeding trough. Because the police failed to distinguish this single accidental fall from the bludgeonings of the others, they assumed an outside intruder had killed the entire family. But the cold, mechanical evidence of the mattock suggests the most dangerous monster was the one who built the home.